So the topic today is the case of polyamorous relations. In a column in the online magazine Slate about polyamory, writer Gillian Kennan tells a story about Richard, Vicky, Jim, and Maria, four people who end up in a polyamorous relationship with one another. The story begins with Richard meeting Vicky at a party, as the two describe it. They fell in love at first sight. Vicky had been married to Jim for nearly 20 years, but Jim and Vicky had an open relationship in which they were both permitted to have sexual relations with others. Vicky and Richard started dating, and Vicky and Jim continued their marriage happily. 9 months later, Jim met a woman named Maria and began dating. Eventually, the four of them, Richard, Vicky, Jim, and Maria, were in a polyamorous relationship together, describing themselves as a family. Richard, Vicky, Jim, and Maria's relationship is a relationship including two men and two women, all of whom ostensibly have more or less equal status. In light of this, modern-day polyamories like this for some balk at their relationships, being compared to the more traditional polyamorous relationships, which are polygamous and likely to be motivated by the patriarchy or religious fundamentalism. They do what feels natural and healthy. Their relationship is no less consensual and equal than a monogamous one. So number one, Aquinas believes that acting in accordance with one's natural inclinations is virtuous and that acting contrary to those inclinations is vicious. From the natural law perspective, do you think their relationship is natural? What this mean to say that an activity is unnatural? Is the fact that something is unnatural a good reason for concluding it is morally wrong?
Thomas Aquinas, a medieval philosopher and theologian, believed in the concept of natural law. He argued that human beings have a natural inclination toward certain fundamental goods, and acting in accordance with this natural tendency is virtuous. Acting contrary to this is considered vicious. Aquinas believed that these natural inclinations are in harmony with our human nature and are rooted in our God-given purpose. It's important to note that Aquinas and proponents of natural law theory do not necessarily identify unnatural with morally wrong. Instead, the reality that something is unnatural in and of itself is not a reason for deeming it morally wrong. He believed that the moral evaluation of an action also depends on whether it aligns with the natural law and the inherent human goods. For him, an action's morality is determined by its relationship to these fundamental human goods, even if it seems unnatural, promotes and upholds these goods. It may still be considered morally right. Conversely, if an action, even if it seems natural, undermines this good, it may be considered morally wrong. In summary, according to Aquinas, natural law, an action being unnatural does not automatically make it morally wrong. Morality is primarily determined by how an action relates to our inherent human nature and the fundamental good and that define it.
Number two, when thinking about the moral status of different kinds of relationships, how specific should we be about what kinds we are thinking about? Should we separate questions about the morality of polyamory from questions about the morality of polygamy or polyandry?
Ako na po sasagot. When considering the moral status of different types of relationships, it is important to be specific about the type of relationship being discussed. Polyamory, polygamy, and polyandry involves distinct dynamics and considerations. Separating questions about their morality can help to better analyze the ethical considerations and potential consequences associated with each. However, it is important to approach these discussions with respect for diverse perspectives and an understanding for cultural and historical context. Yun lang.